Hi, welcome to my parlor.
Hi, I'm Priscilla Andrews. In cooperation with tinypandora.com's 2019 design team, it all started here. On hot, humid days, the kids come up and we float down the North Loop River. I was admiring the clouds and the transparency, and this is the result. And I gave myself a challenge. I was going to design and implement a complex cane and video it when I made it for the very first time. That's why you'll see some changing recommendations as you go along. So I made patterns for the cane, and I made different size templates as a guide. But I need to say something here. I'm left-handed and my thumbs are double jointed, and you'll notice the list of supplies is changing. These are the colors that I used, but you'll see later in the video that I make other recommendations for colors. But I started with the yellow log in the center, and I added a little bit of orange so that they would be similar to the red colors that I used and added orange. I found that chopping everything up really fine worked the best. And then I rolled it into a ball and stuck it through my pasta machine, first in one direction and then in the other. Then I fold it over, run it through my machine the last time, and then tear it up. Now roll it out to the size of your template and cut the yellow log in half. This is going to be the bottom shape of your sun. We cover everything with our dark silver, and I rolled that out to the third or fourth setting on my machine, which is an Atlas 180. There, that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and chop up the red and the red, orange, and orange for the next color, which is the red. Here it is all chopped up, and just like before, we are going to run it through the pasta machine 3 times, and from here on out I will not be repeating these steps for the chopping up of the colors. So we take the red and we're going to cut the ends off to the length of the log that we already have, and then we're going to wrap it around this yellow log. It's kind of difficult because it's pretty thick, but you can get it done. There, looks good. Okay, so what we're going to do next is again wrap it in our silver and skip this step. Do not cut the log in half, and you will see why later. Now mix your blue. I used 2 different colors of blue. Shape it to match the template, and we're going to see what we have to do to make that fit next to the rising sun log. First, cut it to the length of your log, and then if you notice there's a part where it has to wrap around the rising sun just a little bit. So I just made a slight cut down and forward, and not forward enough. That needs to be wrapped and fit around that center log, just like that. Now we're going to do the green. And here I found that it's probably better to make the green into a triangle rather than to make a square log and then try and cut it in half on the edges. It turned out, but I had to do a bit of reshaping to get that to fit. And there we have our green triangle in the other direction, Priscilla, that fits. But I found that I put the green too far down on the blue. You'll see that later. One of the things that was really handy in keeping my squares and triangles in a great shape was to use the Tiny Pandora square benders. Here, you brace it up flat against one side and squeeze it down at an angle on the other, and it really helped keep those grooves out of there that are caused by your fingers. Now, we're going to cover it with silver, but I made another mistake here. I put the silver all the way down around the outside edge. I should not have done that. We're going to cover that later. And this is where I realized I needed to change my template to include the color, and it also might help to cut those up so that you can put the design on the end of the cane. Now here I made the pink and then discovered I needed to put the purple in first, because that pink needed something to butt up against. But then this is where I realized that I needed a better template. I just traced the pattern of that pink part onto the end of the pink, but it probably would have been easier if you had the template cut out. Again, the Tiny Pandora cane benders worked great for making grooves that would be going around circular parts of the cane. Here I made 2 grooves and it fit just fine, and then I had to go back and cut it off. If you used the template, you'd probably had this shape cut before you even put the pink on to the rest of the clay. Now that's covered in silver also, and now this is where I added the second part of the log because I realized that the center would change. I also repeatedly checked my transparency. Now I added the red log, and we're going to start with the first ray of yellow. And again, this is where I discovered that it was best to use the same color in all of the yellows and just add more translucent clay to it. So we'll start with the first ray, which is a darker yellow. We'll fit that to the template. We will then put the silver in, and we will add the lighter yellow of ray of yellow. Okay, you know what I mean. Fit that to the template, and it fits. So now we go add the centerpiece, but do not put silver on that. This is going to be half. I found as I went along I needed something to square things up, and the edge of your work surface worked perfect for that. Now we're going to do the last section of blue on the right side and wrap that in silver. And now we're going to put our light purple ray. I wrapped that in silver also, but I left the ends open for cutting off at the end. Now place the green before you put the light blue in so that you can shape your blue section to everything. Now we can cut that red log in half, and we have our cane almost done, but it's only half our cane. So I cut it in half, and remember this was a 3-inch section, so we ended up with 2 1.5-inch pieces. Put that together, and oh, I can see so many mistakes here, but it's pretty good. Now here's some things I learned. Use the edge of your work surface to keep that straight over the round log. But remember to press the outside edge too. I ended up with rounded edges, and some of the softer clay moved out. 3, I should have worked the cane only in the morning in the summer. It's very hot and humid in Nebraska, and my clay got sticky. 4, I've added colors to the template as you saw, and you may want to cut them out as you work. 5, like I said, add more transparency to make the same color lighter. Now here I cut off some cane ends as I was reducing and held them up to the light, and you can see that my colors didn't really get coordinated. They all kind of look the same in the middle. Use the clay of the same type and the same bar, because here's what happened. I ran out of a transparent bar, used another, and it was softer. This results in a cane that is not proportional to the original plan, because the softer gets pushed in thinner and sticks out. Regardless, I think we came up with a pretty good cane for doing it for the very first time. Now it's time for lunch, and I made fried chicken and potato salad to have lunch on an island on the river.
But what I really wanted you to see was the sand hills back there.
I can't even get my videos right. This is what the sand hills really looks like. And now you know why we go on the river as often as possible. Stay tuned, see what direction my next video takes. Thank you, tinypandora.com, for including me in your design team program. And thank you for watching. Come back to my parlor.